The final piece of the puzzle has been made public. All of the dates are now known for the release schedule of Wrath Classic. As per usual, there's a bunch of topics to update on this week, some really exciting changes to raiding, and several new confirmed bits of information. And honestly, I'm liking how things are shaping up for this expansion. Before we do go on, a quick mention to today's sponsor, NordVPN. A quality virtual private network has quickly become something that I consider a tool which just improves everything about being online. And when you're online often, like me, or on the move, that is even more so the case. And since I've got an exclusive deal with Nord where using my link will get you 4 months free, whatever you choose, this is a pretty good time to get a VPN sorted. Why would you want a VPN though? Well, Nord has taken the uses of a VPN above and beyond from what you already know it to be to a powerful cybersecurity tool. The threat protection feature can easily be toggled on and will scan suspicious links, sites, downloads and more, protecting both you and your machine from malicious sites or potential security threats. It also even remains on when not actively using the VPN, so you can always benefit from it. On top of that, these days it's also not uncommon for games or TV shows to release, and it takes, in some cases, literally years for them to be approved and published in your country of residence. A VPN gives you worldwide access to entertainment at the push of a few buttons, so you can focus on enjoying the now, not sitting and waiting. This is a great chance to invest in something for you and your machine with so many different benefits. And honestly, I'm not sure I've seen a campaign where they've offered 4 months for free before. That is quite a lot. Get the exclusive NordVPN deal here at nordvpn.com/WillE. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Many thanks to NordVPN for the sponsor. Let's talk WoW. So the big news, the Wrath of the Lich King Classic pre-patch will go live on the 30th of August, with the release of course being September 26th. That means this time around we're getting about 4 weeks of pre-patch, which is quite standard as far as pre-patches in World of Warcraft go, and much better than the rush 2 weeks we had for TBC, that's for sure. As Blizzard already confirmed in an earlier blue post, Fresh Realms will also release alongside the pre-patch, though as of writing this video we don't know how many Fresh Realms there will be, or most importantly, their names. Alongside the announcement, Blizzard also showed a roadmap for Classic leading forwards to launch and beyond. Not mentioned here, but first thing to consider is TBC Season 4 will end on August 29th. August 30th will be the pre-patch. On September 6th, the Zombie Plague, that's the bit of the game where everything's kind of unplayable for a week, will begin. Interestingly, if we have a week of Zombie Plague, as far as I know, that will be longer than it went on for originally in 2008. September 13th, the Plague will be finished and the invasion portion begins. In 2008, the Plague and Invasion were happening at the same time, so this is a deviation from how it used to be. The invasion itself will be pretty much what happened in vanilla: Scourge attack, you go defeat them, farm necrotic runes, buy stuff with them, and so on. I'll do a video on it soon. Side note of something which is not on this roadmap either is Brewfest, because that will be happening during the pre-patch as well. On the Wrath of the Lich King beta, it's marked on the calendar for 20th of September, so around there I guess. Maybe they bring it forward so it doesn't overlap with the launch date. It's also been confirmed the Brewfest will act as the level 70 version still, so no easy to get level 80 trinkets before we can even get to level 80. A bit unfortunate with the timing, but progress made will still count towards the Long Strange Journey meta achievement. That's the one for completing all the holiday events. The 26th is the big launch day where we get to see how well layering will perform this time around. I reckon it went pretty well at the start of TBC, and now in Wrath we're going to be split into 2 zones, those being Borean Tundra and Howling Fjord. I'm Fjord gang all day. Finally, confirmation that raiding content will become available 10 days after launch, that being on October 6th. Those will be the raids Naxxramas, Eye of Eternity, and Obsidian Sanctum. I'm also assuming Vault of Archivon, maybe? You get an extra reset of VOA if you level fast week 1? Who knows? Probably not. That is our launch roadmap though. Happy with raids being delayed? It is something which Blizzard started to do a long time ago with new tiers on retail. They will have normal and heroic week, and then after that they will open up mythic and gradually do the wings of LFR. I don't see this happening with Ulduar or raids beyond that in Wrath. I just don't think they want people to feel forced to level really fast for the opening tier. It kind of sucks for the whole race part of the game if that interests you, but hey, it is what it is. In fact, talking of raiding and Vault of Archivon, we have a little update for Wintergrasp. So initially Blizzard Blizzard's post kind of made it sound as though it was going to be a 40 versus 40 battleground. In a blue post, they used the term epic battleground, which are 40 versus 40 in retail, as well as giving an example of it being 40 player. In an update, we now know that Wintergrasp, like it was back in Wrath, will support up to 120 versus 120 players. Another win for Wrath Classic. Though the way Blizzard are doing Wintergrasp as a battleground nowadays really makes sense to support the max volume of players possible. We just have to hope the game can handle about 240 people being jammed into the same space. Surely there won't be any problems here, right guys? Right? Next up is big changes to Wrath of the Lich King raiding, which will affect everybody from your most casual to your most hardcore players. First up, no more cheesing dual spec to try and snapshot certain buffs or cooldowns via what Blizzard call a buff audit system. They say, we are implementing a system that checks all talents and abilities at certain times and will clear or reduce the magnitude of buffs that should either not be present in your current group or are too powerful based on your current specialization. This is honestly saving people from themselves when it comes to min-maxing. There's wanting to play your character at a high level, and then there's people saying, hold on, I'm waiting for a cooldown from abusing some weird respec feature every pull. I think it goes without saying the game is better off without this kind of stuff existing. Secondly, and very interestingly to me, they are addressing long cooldowns as well as the exhaustion and sated debuffs. Now, I have to mention that back in March, I made a video called Wrath of the Lich King Classic, what it's missing. The idea behind this video was to go over some things which could make Wrath better without them being overly intrusive. The first thing which I decided to talk about was having cooldowns reset upon encounter wipe, so you don't have to stand about waiting when you start attempting the more difficult encounters in Wrath Classic. And as it turns out, Blizzard have decided to do exactly this. They give examples such as guilds in TBC chain wiping to Muru and feeling like you need heroism or bloodlust for the real attempts. Blizzard say, while we want to take care about any modern features and systems we include in WoW Classic, we also recognise that there's very little value in having to wait for multiple minutes after your raid has resurrected, ran back and is fully buffed for an arbitrary cooldown on abilities to be confident that you can perform properly. As a result, we're going to be implementing a similar system in Wrath Classic, where class abilities with a base cooldown of 2 minutes or more will reset when an encounter ends. So it's worked like this on retail for a very, very long time now. This change was made over there for a similar reason. Encounters at the top end were getting more and more difficult, wipes could come incredibly fast, and then you really need your big class cooldowns to have real attempts on a given encounter. Blizzard came back a few days later with an update on their thoughts on how this will all work, with a list of currently excluded cooldowns, which is subject to change, but this is what they're thinking at the moment. They also say, additionally, we have some protections in place that will prevent the use case where a hunter or other class that can quickly and safely exit combat repeatedly pulls the boss and leaves combat in order to reset the cooldowns while the rest of the raid is elsewhere in the dungeon pulling trash. So there is a solution to this in retail as well. You need to tag the boss in order to reset your cooldowns. In fact, this was a concern I brought up with this system in my old video. Sometimes you pull a huge trash pack, you pop every single cooldown in the game, blow it up, pull the boss, tag it, reset the boss, get your cooldowns back, and then pull the boss. This happened, and I've done it loads over the years on retail. Picture doing this with a huge trash pack room like Grand Widow Felina or Lady Deathwhisper. This works well as long as there isn't that one guy who doesn't hit the boss and you have to pull it again for them to hit the boss and you end up losing time, which also always happened. But then again, this works in retail because there is a decent grace period between pulling a boss and a room doors closing, like a good 10, 15, 20 seconds I want to say. Plenty of time to land one hit and run out. In Classic, there is not a good grace period at all. In fact, there just isn't one. The rooms close near instantly. But if you have to tag a boss in order to reset, I just don't think it will be viable to do so because doors close too fast. Even if you're very coordinated and you have everybody standing at the door, the time between the boss being tagged and being in range of the raid is just too little for everybody to reliably land a hit. And then you've got other bosses like Patchwork or Ignis. They don't even have a door. Do they eventually eventually despawn when they're pulled too far away like Kalagos does? There's a lot of questions to be asked here, but we'll see what Blizzard end up doing. Also, very importantly about this blue post, they specifically say that cooldowns reset on encounter ending via a wipe or completion. So if you aren't wiping, you have heroism and every other cooldown that's below 5 minutes for every single encounter. One final point on this is you can no longer reset your heroism debuff through death during an encounter. In the blue post, they say this prevents degenerate behavior where players may intentionally die to clear exhaustion or sated and benefit from multiple heroisms or bloodlust buffs in a single encounter. All in all, these are a pretty huge set of changes, and they're ones which I was already in favor of well before Wrath of the Lich King even being announced, so goes without saying I'm quite happy to see this put in the game. Oh, also in that What's Missing video I did ages ago, I mentioned doing a tab for toys and heirlooms. It's not too late to do it, Blizzard, you know it makes sense. Finally, we have a few PvP related things to cover off. So as we started with, TBC Season 4 ends August 29th, at which point your remaining arena points should be converted into honor. Blizzard have also confirmed during the pre-patch we will now have an update where Season 4 gear will become available to purchase for honor. And in case you're wondering about Death Knights, they did not have a Season 4 set of gear implemented until the start of Cataclysm, though the Gladiator's Dread Plate has appeared on Wowhead under patch 3.40, which is currently our Wrath of the Lich King patch we're working with. This gear has incredibly good stats, and after doing the Sunwell, this will probably be the go-to for gearing up a DK in a pre-patch as fast as possible. Again, I've no idea if this will be in the game or not. It's really not clear. If it ends up being in the game, I don't see the harm really. It just gives people something else to do and more reasons to PvP, and it's not like there's any active arena season either. And that is everything for today. Shouldn't have too many big news videos left to do with the pre-patch looming very soon. I have to say overall the state of the game is shaping up to be something which I'm looking forward to a lot, and I'm glad that for the most part these changes are building on and evolving Wrath in a positive way in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts on everything we've gone over today, and as always thank you all so much for watching and listening in, and I'll see you all on the next one very soon.